You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Sitting looking back on all the times we shared, when I acted like I just didn't really care, and it wasn't fair. You stood by me, girl, when I was so untrue. But this is my promise, girl, I give to only you. Let me be the one you come running to. When you need me, I'll be there, just to let you know that I do care. Baby, I promise, girl, I promise, I'll always be true. And baby, I promise, girl, I promise you that I'll be right here for you, no matter the problem, baby. I'll stand by your side, be right by your side. Yeah, can never be denied. I know the love in me wasn't always easy.
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe, having a wonderful week, having a great day so far. This is episode 10, season 18 of the podcast. And in this episode, we're talking about the Maryland women's basketball team. But before we get into the episode, what we're talking about is we're recapping the last few games for women's basketball team. But before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. Originally, about a week and a half or so ago, last episode you saw was episode 9. We were supposed to preview the playoffs, and that unfortunately got scrapped. So these next two episodes, 10 and 11, we're talking about Maryland basketball. And then also in this episode, we will be talking, in the next episodes, we're recapping the division and wild card games. And then be on the lookout for the conference preview. And then obviously the recap, and then the Super Bowl preview. Probably after the Super Bowl, this when the NFL Mock Draft 2.0 will be released. WNBA free agency has started, but I've held off on my mock draft just for the time being because right now there's not a lot of things happening. At this point, players can start negotiating. But this really we're in the kind of not the first week, and nothing's really happening. I expect that. So just be look out for that content. But until then, thank you for the support you're giving me and this channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all future content. It's much appreciated. Let's get into it. So let's rewind. Like I said, last time you saw me, we talked about the Maryland women's basketball team. They was getting ready to play Purdue because the week before the game was postponed due to leakage of the roof at the Xfinity Center, so that game had to be postponed. And they made up for that game about a week or so ago. In that time, some things did happen. Riley Nelson is out for the season. Coach Freeze talked about that in the post presser. She tore ACL. My thoughts and prayers are with her as she is on the road to recovery. I actually did get a chance to see her. They didn't get a chance to speak, but I did see her at the Xfinity Center where we played Illinois. So just sucks for her because I think she's having a sensational freshman year so far, especially where you're already kind of thinned out at the wings position. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in this episode, but let's just really get back into it. So Purdue, for me, I thought my keys to us to beating them was beating them with defense, and I feel like we did that. I was expecting Purdue to get to the free throw line. I didn't really see that. I mean, that is their strength, but I felt like this was pretty much from I'd say about the second quarter going forward. This was pretty much over. We beat Purdue 88-66, and that game for me, I thought we got better as the game went forward, especially when in the second half when we were up 5. They cut our lead. They cut our lead to us about 5 points, and I thought we just took it a step further. We made the necessary plays to win the game. I think by the third quarter, the game was pretty much over. We were up 18 at that point. I still think we had to be better for 40 minutes, not one half or at the first half or the second half. And I can see them, especially after the Michigan State loss. I think they were motivated to come in this week. So into that game. So I really looked at this game as a regroup game. Just everybody getting right. Everybody did the right things. Still the same thing I kind of noticed. Got to be better with fouls. I thought there was some situational matchups I thought we could have used. The rebounding needs to be a little bit more crispier. Outside of that, I thought we did pretty good. And this is the game where Riley Nelson got hurt. What happened was she dove out of bounds on a loose ball. And she was where the cameras were. So, and she didn't put any weight on that leg. So, yes. And again, I feel like depth for Maryland is, especially I think for all teams, is important. And especially losing her, I thought that was very tough as a dynamic scorer that she is. And it doesn't help also too that Emma's also out with an torn, who actually the same exact injury, ACL. So again, big ups to Riley and her recovery, and she will be back out there on the court. I promise you that. And we're actually going to play some footage of the post game from Purdue. Let me just get that for you.
Just getting back in the flow of it and just getting more confident at the 3, and just my teammates finding me and having the faith in me to knock that down. So, yeah.
So for Jakia, congrats on the win. 7 for 7 today in the first half, finished with 18 points. Kind of, what did you see and what was working for you to have that scoring impact in the first half?
I think first is, taking the open shots. My teammates have had confidence in me, and my coaches have had confidence in me. So just, knocking down the open shots. And it really just started on defense, just getting me energy, and it just led to offense.
I know, I guess Bree mentioned this after the I guess it could be for any of you, but Bree mentioned that through the Michigan State game that you guys needing to play as one. So how did you guys do that? I guess this one's for Bree. I guess you've played really well. I mean, I don't kind of have stuff up on my computer right in my head, but you've become a good complement to Cheyenne Sellers. So that's kind of led to that change as the season's progressed.
Just pushing each other every day in practice.
And fouling me.
Yeah, fouling each other. That's really the thing. They have to tell us to cool out. So, just come in every day knowing that I have somebody that's going to push me every day and get on my last nerves and vice versa. So,
Shai, did you know that you got your 1,000th point?
I didn't. She's talking about you can thank me. I had no idea that I was even close. I didn't know I was going to get it this game, so no, I didn't know I was close.
What's your feeling, I guess, in reaction to hitting that milestone?
I think it's cool. I'm happy I got it on a win and at home, but obviously we just have a lot more to do. I feel like that's just something little that's in the book. So
when she was 2 points away, she was facilitator. I could see so I had to get her into getting that point. So we got her there.
Thank you.
I want 2K.
2K. Yeah. That's
Hey, Coach. Purdue opened the third today on a 10-2 run. Obviously, last game you talked about the third quarter struggles coming out of the break. Is there something that you recognize that can cause this team to come out of the break slow? And then what did you say in that huddle after the timeout? Because after that, Maryland outscored Purdue by 13 to end the quarter.
Well, it's something we're tuned into. It was the conversation at halftime. I knew Purdue, that's their third quarter is their best, and the third quarter is our worst. So we were really tuned into it. And so I think it was really disappointing coming out to have that run. I like the personal responsibility when we called the timeout. I thought we were able to change it. But like I said to him after the game, they've got to figure out how we can fix it. And we can't play for them. We've tried different things, and that mentality's got to change because too many of these teams in the league, that third quarter cost us at Michigan State. So we've got to be able to figure that out.
Coach, what stood out to you about Bree the last couple games? Obviously, she's filling up the stat sheet, but maybe even more so than usual.
She's having fun. She's regulating her emotions, are in a better place, and she's confident. So, she gives us another ball handler, someone who can get downhill. Obviously, when she's shooting the three like she did tonight, another weapon from 3-point range. So that's huge as well. So, and then obviously she's an elite defender for us.
I guess what can you take away from this game for the rest of the season? And did you think this was one of your team's best games, best performances of the season?
It really was. I thought it was one of our most complete games, minus the 2 or 3 minutes in that third quarter. So love that we dominated every single quarter. We had 1, 2, 4 players in double figures. I thought we were really unselfish. We've got to be able to, not turn the ball over as much as we did tonight. We've got to tune in there. But overall, it was definitely one of our most complete games.
Coach, just wondering if you could speak a little bit to what you saw from Jakia today that was different. I think it's first time making a 3 in quite some time and kind of showing some of that 3-level scoring that I know you talked about preseason. What kind of stood out to you about her performance today?
I love that Jakia is staying the course. I know she's been disappointed in her play, both ends of the floor. For us, we've kind of tried to tune her back into her defense and her rebounding to not put as much pressure on her offense. And she's just stayed the course. It was great to be able to see her be rewarded because she has just tried to put her head down and keep working for this team. And she's more than capable. She's a really talented player, and we need her to be able to knock down those shots and give us 9 boards and give us the stat line that she gave today. Thank you.
And for the most part, I agree with those sentiments. I definitely did think it was a complete game, but I still feel as though at this point of the season, I know she's talked about, Coach Reese has talked about it before, the consistency piece. We kind of at this point should know who we are. It's going to take everybody, a collective group, to have, especially now we're in conference play. We've got to play big. I think, just watching Bree McDaniel, I stand by that she's going to make an all. Now I'm convinced she's going to make an all Big Ten team. If it's not, it's definitely going to be, if it's not Auburn, it's going to be the second team. In my personal opinion, the growth in her game, just going out there with a grit and grind mentality, and just every play on the offensive side, defensive side of the ball. I'm just amazed at her growth this year. And also to Jakia Brown-Turner, got to give her flowers. I think she's starting to pick it up a little bit more. Going into that game, this was for her 760s. It was like her 6th double. So congratulations to her. Cheyenne Sellers scored a 1,000 point in that game. She leads the team in assists, rebounds, points, some one other category. I think the last player who did that was Alyssa Thomas. And that was 2012, if I remember correctly. So, hey, everyone's doing their thing. Brene Alexander surpassed Diamond Miller and Chloe Bibby. I predict hopefully by the end of the season, Brene will be in the top 10 of 3-point shooting. So, hey, congrats. It was a great win. I'm really proud of them. So it was a much, much, much needed. I felt like it was a good win. And then came Ohio State. I thought, for me, Ohio State, this was definitely a challenge. I felt like, especially using the Purdue game, this is some momentum. Okay, no, Ohio State last year they were 12-6 in the Big Ten. Coming into this game, they were 13-3. I already know J.C. Sheldon, Celeste Taylor. They got a great group of guards. I think they're one of the best teams, especially on the defensive side of the ball, when it comes committing turnovers. They don't really have a lot of weaknesses. I'd say probably their biggest thing at times they don't get to the free throw line on a consistent basis, but I don't think they need to worry about that. For me, I felt as though how would the depth look now that Riley was out? That was one. I felt as though Maryland needed to use Allie and Faith a little bit more in this game. I kind of wanted to see how our bigs would match up against them. I mean, from a guard, I understand matchups have been a thing, so I was curious to see how they would be a factor. And I have some tape. I have the pregame against Ohio State, and let's check that out.
And then we'll take questions for both. Brenda, go ahead when you're ready. Oop, I think you're muted.
Thank you. Great to see everyone, and obviously we're excited about the opportunity this week, having 3 home games back at home. I thought it was by far one of our most complete games against Purdue. Being able to stack the practices that have led to that. Getting prepared now with Ohio State, another great opportunity to play a ranked team in our arena. We know that it's going to be a 40-minute effort with our group of pressing and being able to take care of the basketball and have an aggressive, confident mentality. So we're, know the scout and looking forward to tomorrow night.
Please raise your hand for questions for Coach or Cheyenne. Go ahead, Sam.
Shy, I want to ask you, kind of, carried over, played well down the stretch at Michigan State, and then, coming home and playing Purdue, obviously 2 solid back-to-back games for you. But I know there's been, some questions about the ball movement and kind of the offensive stagnation lately. As the point guard, what have you seen from kind of the connectivity of the offense? Has it been up to standard for you guys and how you want to perform?
I don't think the problem. Obviously, we want to move the ball, and you see when we have good assist to turnover ratio, there's great outcomes. But I don't necessarily think the problem is our offense. I think just being consistent on defense and bringing a lot of energy, and then obviously our third quarter needs to just be a better start out of the half. We look slow a lot, so I feel like that's more the main problem. And I think we know what we can do on the offensive end. I think we need to focus more on the defensive side.
Go ahead, Olivia.
Thanks for Shy. Just curious, you've had 2 wins over Ohio State last season. One of them at the game at home was obviously a huge blowout. How are you preparing for a team who's coming in and has this circled on their schedule because of how badly you guys beat them last year?
Yeah, I think we just need to come in with our minds right. Obviously, they're probably out for blood since we beat them twice last year. And, they're just a well-coached team, and, they have a lot of amazing athletes on their side. So we just have to be ready to play basketball for 40 minutes.
Go ahead, Judith.
this could be for either, but I guess where's your kind of biggest improvement to like now from when you guys last faced top 25 teams in like early November? I know a lot of things have changed.
Well, we're a different team by far. You would hope that with the schedule. I think we're much more connected on both ends of the floor, defensively and offensively. I love right now our free throw shooting percentage, where we've been able to get that up. Our positive assist to turnover ratio has really improved, looking for each other, and our rebounding numbers are starting to go back up. So just we're trying to be great and elite in as many areas, and much different team than we were trying to find ourselves back in November.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Oh, good afternoon, y'all. This question is for Coach Freeze. Last couple games, Allie, kind of due to matchups on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, we've seen her limited minutes in her play against Ohio State. Do you see her as an X factor?
I always see Allie as an X factor for us, and you go into every game for our players, hoping that they can have a ton of success. The script doesn't always get written that way, depending on the game. So, she's really talented. Obviously, for us, it is how we're handling the press break, how we're staying out of foul trouble. Are we rebounding? So a lot of those different factors, and based on how other teams play us, kind of go into play within the rotation of the team and each individual player.
Go ahead, Sam.
Coach, do you have an update on Riley?
Yes, unfortunately, she's torn her ACL in her right knee, so she'll be out for the rest of the season.
Go ahead, Olivia.
Hey, Coach, just curious. Michigan obviously had a great win against Ohio State a couple of weeks ago. I was wondering if you guys looked at that film at all when you were preparing, and what your takeaways were from other teams who have played Ohio State for what to do to succeed in this game.
Yeah, well, I would hope we would look at that film when that's what we get paid for. So yeah, we've watched a lot of film on Ohio State. I think the most impressive thing, similar rosters when you look at us in Michigan, and they were very confident. All their players were very aggressive, attacking the press. They had just a blue collar, hardworking mentality. They were very unselfish, and everybody wanted to help. So they were able to expose them in the press break. They were able to make shots and get stops on the defensive end.
Go ahead, Nathan.
This question is for Shy. Congratulations on reaching 1,000 points. You lead the team in points, rebounds, assists since Alyssa Thomas. Just what do you attribute that to?
Well, first off, thank you for congratulating me. Second off, I think just my teammates putting me in successful positions. Coach B, having me trust the process. My role has changed every single year. I think I've adapted to that pretty well, but honestly, it's credited to everyone else besides myself. Teammates just letting me be successful and trusting me to put us in the best position.
And go ahead, Sam.
Two-parter here for you, Shy. One, obviously Ohio State kind of has a dearth of weapons. It's kind of their calling card. You played really well in the home game last year and then kind of struggled in the road game. How do you expect them to guard you? I mean, they have, I think, the second best defense through conference play so far. How do you kind of expect them to attack you, especially in ball screens?
I feel like they're going to have to switch it up for me on ball screens, but I think I'm just a tough matchup just because there's kind of a problem. And, Bree can get hot, Brene can get hot at any time. So I feel like you have to honor them from the 3-2. So, I think we're just a tough team to match up with regardless of who you try to stop because anyone can go off.
Yeah, I guess it's fair to say you score 1,000 points. You're probably not an easy matchup. But and then the next one for you is obviously, Cody McMahon is having a good year, but I think a lot of people expected her to take, even a bigger leap somewhat. What do you remember about playing against her last year. What have you seen on film between her and Sheldon kind of that scares you, I guess, or is a reason for concern on their offensive side?
I just think they're both two really hard-nosed players. Obviously, Cody is phenomenal, and she just wants to, she loves to get downhill, and I think that's something that can be a concern if you just let her play bully ball with you. And then I know obviously JC can score at all three levels and is very talented and very quick. So I think trying not to get in a track meet with her because she's pretty fast. So and then just being able to guard our yard on both of them, making it difficult, making them take tough twos all the time. So I think that's just the main concern for us.
And we'll wrap up with one more from Nathan.
Yes, this one's for Coach Freeze. With the win against Purdue, loss to Michigan State, just overall, what do you want to see in the game against Ohio State tomorrow?
Just that we continue to keep growing. I thought, obviously our third quarter impacted us at Michigan State. Even as bad as the third quarter was, we still had an opportunity with 90 seconds to go. So it's just being able to finish the game, 40 minutes, making it as complete as you can. There's obviously always going to be mistakes within those 40 minutes, but just putting your head down. I thought fatigue was a big part in that game in the second half. So for us is being able to push through that wall and not have those fatigue mistakes that hurt us in the fourth quarter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
Good Lord.
Thank you.
Thank the good Lord I am on FCC airwaves. I thank the good Lord. It's hard to take, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand how these dudes put themselves in the situation. I truly do not understand it. That's the kindest way I can put it. I think to go any further than that, Skip, I might lose it. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna lie.
Well, let me pick up the ball and try to not run with it.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming. Or act like I know this was coming because I did it.
And as you heard in the press conference, pre-game press conference, I felt as though that this was a game we could have won. I felt like we should have won this game. The final score was 84-76, the Ohio State. We're 0-4. We're now going into Illinois. I just thought it was just a lot of things we still got to clean up. I thought down the stretch, I thought we had a chance to win because Ohio State, they were not looking great themselves either shooting the ball. Offensively, I think we just sputtered out, and it showed, especially in those last few minutes. For me, you can't commit 4 turnovers, especially when they're playing a 4-court press defense. Yes, Bree Mayday had a 25 piece in the game before, but I just felt like that just wasn't enough. I felt like both teams came out aggressive defensively. The foul trouble, I thought, really, really hurt us. Listen, I can't defend 3 fouls in 5 minutes with Ali Kubak. I can't defend that. And especially against zone defense. That's just where we got hurt the most. The third quarter was key. They all had to sit practically with fouls. And, both teams were in the bonuses as the third quarter was coming to a close. And I think that killed us. Ohio State, the largest lead was 7 points. So, and we struggled mightily. Mightily. I'm not saying that we did not look good giving up defensive rebounds. That was disappointing, especially where I knew it was either fatigue or we just kind of weren't boxing out. I don't know how to really put it, but when you allow 3 straight rebound defensive, when you allow them to have 3 straight possessions of rebounds, that's not a good look. And I can't defend that. and then especially when you allow 10 points in the paint. And I felt as though that was a liability for Ohio State. I thought rebounding was going to be key. And I mean, Lavender breaks in the post game. You know, I saw no weak side help whatsoever on rebounding. So I don't know. That's something that we're just going to have to figure some things out. But when you look at the stats do not reflect how poorly we looked in the second half of that game. And I'm not just being honest, especially when you have both teams combined 31 turnovers and 41 fouls. Not defending that. That just slowed the pace of the game down. I'm not giving Ohio State that win. So, I mean, it's their first win at College Park since 2016, and that's fine. But, you know, we saw Emily Fisher out there. She took some of mostly Riley's minutes, but I don't like what I'm hearing. And actually, I can show you better than I can tell you. So, I'm going to play the Ohio State post game and the Maryland, but we're going to start with Ohio State first.
We have some people from our local media on Zoom, so I was going to take care of all the in-person questions first and then move to our Zoom once we're done in person. That's okay with you all. Thanks for being here for us.
That's okay, because they kind of dominated that one, and I'll play that one. I'm gonna play something different. We're gonna just play the Maryland one. Let's hear what they got to say. We'll come back to this one.
I thought we battled in the first half, especially with Shy being in foul trouble. We were up 2 at half without her taking a shot and playing only 8 minutes. So I thought we were in a really good place. I thought there were some unlucky plays and bounces there towards the end that really didn't go our way. But obviously, getting ready for Saturday, you know, we'll have to rally quick and be ready to move on. But the production from Bree and Lav and Kia, I thought was really, really good tonight. If you look at our 3 conference losses, we were right there in all 3 of them. So just, you know, fine tuning some things late game, obviously on the glass, and being able to close some things out.
Hey, Lev. You know, you guys played really good defense for long stretches, much of the shot clock, but it was a little bit trouble closing out those possessions with the rebound. So I'm curious, what worked well defensively, and what was the struggle with closing out those possessions with the rebound?
I think defensively, what worked well is when we were communicating and bouncing around, talking to each other. As far as rebounding, they got a lot of weak side rebounds. We need to shift over and just be disciplined with that. And all 5 of us have to hit, not just 4, not just 3. All 5 of us have to hit people and get that ball.
For either of you guys, you know, Ohio State was just in here and talked about how on those long possessions they could kind of feel like, you know, obviously you guys tired down, you know, as the possession wore on. Once you got to that fourth quarter and in those possessions where they're getting second, third chances, how like draining is that, and how deflating is it for your defense when you play a good first possession but can't seal the deal?
It's very draining. It's very draining, just scrambling, and then like we were doing good on defense, and then they get a rebound, then we got to scramble again, and they put up a shot and scramble again. It was just very like tiring, but we got to be better on that. We got to come together and just like, all right, home, we're here, let's play. So we got to do better on that.
Hey Bree, obviously not the result tonight, but scored in double digits yet again. First time in your career you've done so in 3 straight games. So I just want to ask you, do you feel like you're carving out more of a role for yourself on this team recently?
I'll say yes. But it's only because my team put me in the right positions to be the best player for the team. They tell me where to go and just help me all around to be who I am. So yeah.
For either of you guys, Ohio State, you guys had success with your offense against the press, and so they switched to their half court. Did that kind of like fluster you guys at all? Because like Ohio State is known for their press, so was it surprising when they didn't use it that much?
Honestly, no, it wasn't surprising at all. The last time we played them, we were able to get them out of that press, and that was the goal for this game. Just get it across and be aggressive and attack and see if we can get him out of that. And we did. That's exactly what we did.
I guess this is for the players. How did you guys weather the first half with Cheyenne Sells not having scoring, as much scoring production as she has, and keeping you guys in this back and forth game for as long as it was before the fourth quarter?
We all just it can't just be one person. We all showed up. We have to if one person down, we got to pick our sister up. So we was playing for her and when she was out, and for the rest of anybody that was out with foul trouble. So we know we're stepping up to help each other. That's it. That's all.
For Bree, you've mentioned in the past that the coaches aren't playing for you guys. You guys have to figure out these second half struggles. I guess today Ohio State took the lead in the third quarter. From your perspective, what is it about this team that maybe causes you guys to lose a lead in the third quarter in the second half, and then how do you fix that?
It just starts in practice. We just got to come in every day. We know what to do. We just have to do it. We got the pieces. We just got to put them together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Similar question for you. Just the boards tonight and them getting the second chance points that seem to extend those possessions. Is we talk about the size. We've talked about the size a lot throughout the season. Is that just a bigger team, or what do you need to see more in those instances?
We obviously knew with Cody and Theory that they were great offensive rebounders. So I think that's the disappointing thing, that we weren't able to keep them off the glass. Defensively, they got us in some rotations with us having to play a lot of zone against their athleticism. So that really impacted us. We were able to share at halftime that they were really beating us from the corners. But I thought just their will to win was a little bit greater there at the end, their will to go get it. And when you're playing a lot of zone, you've got to be able to go find someone to go box out.
Similar to Kareem's question, can you explain maybe why Allie and Faith didn't see the floor there down the stretch?
Well, Allie was in foul trouble. She had 3 fouls in 5 minutes, and she at times has struggled defensively for us in the zone. So you saw her.
I can't defend that.
Playing more.
What do you want me to say to that?
Until she can kind of learn from film, and that and her foul trouble impacted her. Faith, I thought, we talked about it at halftime, her shot selection needed to be better. So those are areas that they understand, and just areas for us to be able to improve. They're talented players. We need them on the floor, and hopefully they'll be able to learn from film tomorrow to be better for Saturday.
Hey, Coach. Bree was just asked about it. Second half struggles is something we've seen in recent games, and that reared its head again today. So I just want to ask you your take on it, how you think this team can get better and get through this patch.
Well, today was actually positive because they've been a lot greater scores in the third quarter than what. So we've addressed it. Conditioning's got to be greater. Teams are separating in the second half. So our depth, we don't have the depth anymore. Like losing Riley impacts our depth as well. So you see the heavy minutes that they have to play. And I mean, you take JC Sheldon. We don't have anyone like JC that can run forever. She was a track athlete. You look at Cody, and those are athletes that can compete and run the entire game. So
we have to, be able to continue to just keep pushing through.
Just kind of a bigger picture question. The first couple of years, you guys are in the Big Ten, like running the show, and now it seems that this league is really top to bottom, incredibly competitive. What's that been like as a coach over the years, seeing all of your opponents that you have to face every single year get harder and harder to beat?
I think we set the bar. If they were going to compete, you got to bring the roster. It was no different than when we first came into the ACC and Duke was the standard. So I love it. I love the fact that, no, I don't like to lose, but this is where you want a league to be competitive from top to bottom. I wouldn't want to play in some of these other leagues where your bottom 4 teams are a cakewalk, and they prepare you for the postseason. So I love it. The good league's only going to get greater next year when you add the 4 teams from the Pac-12. It's going to be incredible, and that's what you want. And is great games like this and competitive games in every single night.
Hey, Brenda, back here.
Hey.
Just on that similar topic, obviously your program is not used to not being in the top 25, and that's the position you guys are in right now. What's kind of your message to the players right now, especially when you mentioned they did come out and do a lot of good things tonight in terms of just kind of righting the ship right now and getting back to where maybe this program is usually?
Yeah. Every roster is different year in and year out. I think you see that now with the transfer portal and with NIL. These rosters, you're never going to know from year to year what's out there and what you're able to have. So for us, I mean, it's I thought this was a more complete game. I don't like to lose, but compared to Michigan State, I thought it was a game we battled for 40 minutes with a lot of adversity and foul trouble. But this, I can't, I don't like to lose, but I can handle it a little bit better when we compete for 40 minutes. And I thought we did that tonight.
I just want to ask about that depth that you just mentioned. What at this point, or leading up to this game, what was the conversation with the team, and how do you, what can you do moving forward when it's not like you can sign someone off the street? What do you do when
Yeah, it
you're
is what it
shorthanded?
is. It is what it is. Like these guys are going to have to play heavy minutes. Maybe like conditioning will get greater. So the roster, it's not changing like you said. So they're going to have to play through fatigue. They're going to have to push through the wall. They're going to have to get in better shape to play 40 minutes.
I guess it had to do with like the foul trouble, but like how can you guys like stay out of foul trouble? And like what did you think of the refs? Because I know around halftime it just seemed like everyone in the building was not. I don't know if it was even the Ohio State. Just like nobody seemed really happy.
I mean, they had a tough game. I mean, those are 2 teams that were battling it out. So it's Big Ten play. I think they had a hard game to officiate between all the physicality that was going on. So I don't really tune in to them. I think they're going to make enough calls either way. So it's just controlling where we were at. And I liked our effort, our energy in the first half. And that now for us is sustaining that, for through those plays when you have those breakdowns.
And I agree with that. I mean, for the most part, I'd say it was a good game, and I believe we can compete with ranked opponents. I'm not panicking. I understand. Up until this Illinois game and Michigan game, we're all coming in 0-4, and again, the roster is still the same. I think the biggest thing is, again, competition's better. I think this is bigger than Maryland. This is bigger than Coach Freeze. It just speaks to an issue of there's other issues. Now, I don't like to hear, at this point in the season, conditioning. I'm not a fan of hearing that. So I don't think that should be used as an excuse why we can at least get a win, especially against ranked opponents. But that's just my opinion. Saturday came, Illinois. First and foremost, I have to thank Rose DePaula, PR for the Maryland women's basketball team. Greatly appreciate the opportunity for being allowed, to cover the ladies in person. Had a wonderful time, wonderful experience. The 2014, 2015 Maryland women's basketball team alumni was there. There were some other women alumni there, Dottie McKnight, Chris Weller, and other Maryland alumni that have played for the program over the years. It was a wonderful experience. I got to see my guy, Kareem Copeland. Shout out to Kareem Copeland, Jasmine Brown. It's awesome. So really grateful. I will be back there when we play Iowa, and that's not until the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken correctly. Yes, and that's like a 5:30 game. So I felt as though for me, Iowa, the biggest thing that was on my thing on my scouting report, Genesis Bryant. Last year she made it to second All Big Ten selection. She leads them in points and steals. They take care of the ball extremely well. They're not the greatest 3-point shooting team, and that kind of showed. They got Kendall Bosick. She's averaging almost about 9 rebounds a game, and that's like 3rd best in the conference. So I was like, okay, the second half was going to be key. Matchups, committing, staying out of foul trouble, rebounding, that's getting some early shots, all those different things like that. For the most part, I think we did that. Cheyenne Sellers to me was the key, because especially when you scored only 12 points in each of the last 2 games, I feel like at this point it was more of making sure the others were involved, and I liked that. So we did win the game 90-82. I think the last 2 games we've paid attention. This is the 3rd quarter, and we had a chance to close. We did that. We didn't let this one slip away. In my perspective, we were up 2, if I remember correctly, in the 3rd quarter. Jakia Brown Turner and Bree McDaniel were our leading scorers. For the most part, I thought it was it was back and forth in the 1st quarter. I felt like nobody could really get, set, and really couldn't make and it just couldn't take the momentum. But I felt like as the 3rd and 4th quarter progressive, kind of going towards Maryland. You have, 6 players in double figures, especially with Genesis Bryant. Illinois just didn't have enough, in my personal opinion. I thought the biggest thing that hurt them was turning the ball over and just not making shots. That also kind of stood out. And then also they got in foul trouble quite a little bit. So I think it was also to us getting everybody involved. We had 23 assists as a cohesive unit. Now, again, the first half was key, especially with Shai Sellerson. She didn't make a shot in the first half of the game, and then had 14 points. Was 1 assist, I believe, from having a double-double. But I think we're going to have to figure out how to get her going early. But it's how you finish, and that's what took away. And that's how I looked at it. Held on to the lead, did all the right things, likely when it mattered the most. Especially we got to the free throw line. There was one particular heckler. I don't know what that was. Allie was at the free throw line, and she still made it. She had that look on her face, like, yeah, you tried it. So other than that, it was great. I think this time, everybody, had the message, just box out. And I noticed that Jakia is starting to kind of take on a larger role. She played about 35 minutes, from making that correctly. Had 20 points, 9 of 16. She's just looking good. And that's when you give a player confidence like her, to just shoot the ball, especially when she's open. I'm letting her take those shots. And again, also too, the bench, I was kind of expecting some players to get in there a little bit more. Emily Fisher only saw 4 minutes. When I looked back at the box score, I couldn't believe that. So again, it's now practically at this point a 7 to 8 man rotation. So with Emma and Riley now for the season, I think she's going to stick to this 8 man rotation. I would challenge her to at least get Hawaii. Summer is not quite there yet. There's flashes, but not there yet. But I would challenge Brenda to kind of see, okay, let me see what at least what Hawaii can do a little bit. That's just me. But everybody else, Bree McDaniel, Lavender Briggs, they play at least 30 minutes. And there was a point in the game where we thought, oh, not another injury, because it got extremely quiet at College Park when Bree went down, when she came back. So it was a big win. So let's play real quick the tape, and yes, and then also too to kind of look at it from this perspective. I want to look back at the tape. I think we do all the right things. Now going against Michigan, I think the key for us is putting pressure on their shooters. They're not the greatest. They're not a good shooting team, and I'm curious to see how that would look. I think they've got a decent guard play. I think they're a good defensive team. I'm curious to see how it will look. I expect Michigan to come out in the zone because they almost average 40 rebounds a game, and they only allow opponents to score at least under 60 points. So with an 8-man rotation and Emily only playing less than 5 minutes, especially in this 4-game stretch coming up, I'm really challenging Coach Freeze to at least consider. I'm not saying put Marion Zen out there because Emily Hawaii should get a max 10, 15 minutes. That's just my opinion. I kind of want to see how this rotation will look because now everyone is the challenge. You're going to see some playing 30, 40 minutes and 35. Like, again, it's just going to be the key. I'm kind of curious to see how this rotation will look against this team. Playing for 40 minutes, I think we've looked good. We just got to clean up some things. Other than that, I think Maryland will be fine. I'm not concerned. Rebounding is going to be key. We cannot lose the rebounding battle against this team. So, especially when they're securing about almost 40 rebounds a game, I'm curious to see how that'll look. Shooting. I kind of want to see how Maryland defensively. I do expect us to come in that 2-1-2 zone. I'm curious to see how we'll look in that zone scheme. But other than that, I think Maryland should keep this win close. But I'm gonna pull one here, and I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna say the Maryland Terrapins upset Michigan 77-69.
Guaranteed.
I think Maryland can surprise some people. Because again, you're on the road. It's not just one, it's all 5. I think everybody's gonna come out and be aggressive. I think Maryland needs to come out early, be aggressive, and just keep playing. I think playing for 2 good strong halves are key for me. And I think Maryland will do that. So I'm gonna play the post game for Michigan in the next episode. But until then, because we're running out of time, I was going to play the Ohio State one, but I'll save that one for another day, the next episode, excuse me. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude this episode of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Oh, and one final thought. Where did I forget that one?
Thoughts are running through my mind, so I took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
One final thought is, again, I'm still confident that this Maryland team will get to March Madness. Has this been a challenging season? Yes. Should you lose hope? No. It's all about staying patient and staying the course. These girls will be fine. I'm not panicking. But best luck to them as they play Michigan. The game comes on the Big Ten Plus network, so be tuned in for that. 7:00. Most of their games this year have been on the Big Ten Plus app. So except this last one, Ohio State was on Peacock. Didn't understand that one, but that's okay. Be tuned in for future episodes. Thank you for tuning in this episode. You'll see episode 11 where we're talking about the men's side of Maryland. But until then, please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.